unless of course you're using a stone that actually cracks in the boiling water, then you have to use something a bit more delicate. When you're doing a faceted stone, I prefer not to have anything underneath. But if you're having a flat stone, cabochon, you can either do one which is like that, which is the same thing, or you can have one which is completely flat across there. What you don't want is one that's got bits in an irregular way, unless you're being clever. Say if you've got a moonstone, for instance, you can actually cut a shape of something underneath it, and that will actually show through on your stone when you're looking through. So that can be clever. So you can actually take through a design inside a design. Okay, it's nothing new. Dates back to, I don't know, Elijah was doing it in the 4th century. Oh, and I mean, if you look at Celtic work, what they used to do is they used to lay enamel and garnets over a little panel. So you've got your setting. And then inside that they'd have this textured foil. When I was taught stone setting, one of the tricks that I was taught is when you did one like that, which didn't have anything on the bottom, you could put a bit of, they used to use cigarette foil. In those days, it was in the days when cigarette foil was actually silver or something. But if you put a shiny bit of foil, I tell you what I've done something similar where if you've got a really high setting, you can sometimes get away with the fact that you can put a false bottom in, and that false bottom could be a nice shiny bit of silver, and that could sit there, and then you put your stone on top of that, and that will actually, you can actually take that, you can make that nice false bottom into a highly finished, highly polished piece of metal, because it's a lot easier doing it that way than trying to polish the inside of the setting. Okay, it's just you need to give it space. You can actually just roll a piece of mint or so thin through the rollers and then polish that up and stick it in quite a flat one. It doesn't have to be a high one, but if it's a high one, I will do that. I like having a hole at the bottom because you need to get the stone out occasionally as you try it and test it. And if you've put it in and it goes in and you haven't quite got it right and it's stuck, you can actually screw up the setting trying to prise it out. Okay, one of the tools I've got over there for stone setting is actually a crowbar. And it's designed specifically for removing the stone. Usually when I'm doing a repair, but basically it's just a crowbar, and that's for just crowbarring the settings up. Occasionally I need it. When I first started stone setting, I'm not the greatest of stone setters because I'm too clumsy, but you learn by practice. You're shown, but at the end of the day, you just by doing it. I have to say, if you're wanting to earn money in this trade, stone setting is one of the best ways of doing it. Stone setters earn a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And you also make a wall. So you start off with a nice thick bit of wall, which has got a smaller diameter, internal diameter, than the outside diameter, shape, whatever of your stone, but the outside diameter is more than the outside diameter of the stone. So you take it down, and then the stone should just fit into it. And then the fact that the outside diameter that's not a problem, because you then get a file and just gently file at an angle. This was my grandfather's, so it's about 70 to 80 years old, and he used a stone setter, and he uses it, and I still use it. And I go from that, from when that's pushed down, again, just a simple bit of metal, ground to a point, polished, and then from that becomes a burnisher. And because it's small, it's all with the thumb. You're working with your hand. It's just a tool that becomes a foil between your hand, which is your main tool of working with, and the bit that you're working on. So you go, but you're not going, because that's the last thing you want to do, because that'll just screw everything up. And believe me, I've done that. I mean, that's a simple ring. Slightly more complicated ring. Those are bloody difficult rings to make. Okay, but it's always the same process. You might have to make. In fact, I had to make a clamp that all the way along. So I made one of these in wood, so that would be supported. Now you see why I like having a pruning knife. You put the setting and the stone into that little groove I've made. This is how they worked in the 1500s. This is how the Romans, this is how the Egyptians worked. They did exactly the same thing. You are doing stuff which sort of comes back to 2-3 millennia now. 5 millennia? And it's the same process. You don't work like that, you work like that. That means the back of the setting and the front of the setting are supported. And you use a matted tool, because when you're doing that, you don't want to do that. Okay, that's really important. Those, and you can't buy these. You have to make them. Okay. Fortunately, they're bog easy to make. Okay. And you move, keeping the pressure. You keep this still, pressing down, and you move this hand.